this video, I'm going to show you a presentation about our report. Now let's get started. The purpose of this report is to evaluate the corporate governance structure, specifies the distribution of the rights and responsibilities among the Queensland Nickel Company, and lays down the rules and procedures for decision-making. The term of corporate governance refers to the system by which business corporations are directed and controlled, ensuring appropriate objectives set by the corporate are met. The structure of the report consists of four main parts. The first part illustrates the objective of this report and explains the definition of key terms in relation to the theme of this report. The second part describes background information of this case. We also raise some ethical issues the company may face and the threats which will undermine compliance with those ethical principles. In the third part, which is the main body of our report, there are top 3 ASX corporate governance principles discovered. We explained and searched for relevant theory and literature to support the corporate governance principles and how Queensland Nickel's industries could prevent bank scandal from adopting corresponding recommendations provided. Finally, we give an intensive analysis in conclusion, justifying the 3 corporate governance principles and ethical issues identified. Now let's look at the background of the report. Queensland Nickel is a private company founded by a businessman and former politician Clive Palmer. Unfortunately, since October 2015, Queensland Nickel has experienced a financial crisis. The poor financial situations allows them to enter voluntary management in January 2016 and fire 237 employees. Finally, the company stopped operating because of insufficient supply of ore and debt problems. So what happens for Queensland Nickel is that it ran at a loss for roughly half of the 7 years it was under Mr. Palmer's ownerships. Clive Palmer allegedly faked entries in a green notebook in a bid to justify draining Queensland Nickel of millions of dollars for anything he wanted before it collapsed in 2016. Clive Palmer would not be straightforward, honest, and sincere in professional and business relationships. This would not be fair to others and would be untrue. This activity is involved the ethical principle of integrity and face self-interest threats. So there are 3 principles to prevent such business scandals. The first one is safeguard the integrity of corporate reports. In this case of Queensland Nickel Company, Clive Palmer wrote 4 entries in notebook to justify cash. This corporate failure caused by accounting error can be explained by stakeholder theory that not cover all stakeholders' interests. Agency theory states that keep the integrity of the corporate report could help Queensland Nickel Company to check out accounting errors and report further corporate collapse. The second one is instill a culture of acting lawfully, ethically, and responsibly. The wastewater discharged from the refinery seriously threatened the ecological environment of the Greenberry Reef. This behavior violates the principles of law, being ethical and responsible corporate governance, thereby drawing out the stakeholder theory and legitimacy theory. The managers of the refinery must consider not only the interest of the stakeholders but also the interest of the entire society. The rights valuation, the right values can make Queensland Nickel gain social and public support and affirmation and become a socially responsible company. The third one is recognize and manage risk. The Queensland Nickel Industries did not have a risk committee to review any material incident involving totally depending on import products and ignore the expensive processing and producing which bring financial risk or causes environmental issue. The corporate governance, most of them took the advice of Clem Palmer rather to a whole board of director, which leads to the corporate failure. They also lack of internal audit to identify and prevent such a risk. In this part, we summarize the ethic issue and corporate governance principles. There are still lots of problems for inside and outside of the company, such as environmental issues, human safety problems, and internal financial fraud and audit. Hence, at the end of the report, we provide 3 principles and relevant theories for the Queensland Nickel Industries and recommend some suggestions in order to prevent bank scandal and collapse. Thank you for listening. This is the end of the presentation.